The RV Show USA presents The More You Know, brought to you by Flagstaff, Rockwood, building better RVs, making smarter RVers.
So here's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about caravanning. It's where friends who RV, well, they travel and RV together. You know, it's a caravan. According to the folks who do it, caravanning is not only fun, it's got a lot of benefits. So we're going to talk about that. Actually, we'll not only talk about the great parts of caravanning, but also the not so great parts too. And we'll explore the question, what are the benefits of buying a new RV versus a used one? And conversely, what are the benefits of buying a used RV instead of a new one? Personally, I believe there's a good case to make for either scenario. Our friends from Endless RVing are going to give you several things for you to think about. If you're paying much attention to the RV industry over the past 12 months, I admit that it can be pretty confusing with so many mixed messages, record sales, but material shortages. And some manufacturers are even cutting corners, supposedly, to try and sort it all out and get the 30,000-foot view on the real state of the industry. I was able to track down our friend Anthony Yoder from Rockwood, Flagstaff.
So here's what I want to know. On one hand, we've got record sales going on in the RV industry. I mean, sales like never before. But on the other hand, we're hearing about all these parts shortages help us understand what is going on from the consumer level. What can you tell us, Anthony?
Yeah, it's something that if you're outside of the industry, it's hard to really know about. Yeah, with record sales, we kind of have record supply issues, shortages. In my 6 years of being here, we'll run into an occasional, hey, we won't have cushions for a day, so that'll be 25 trailers without cushions. Well, we get the cushions the next day. Well, now it's, hey, we don't have cushions and we might not have them for a week. Then next thing you know, it's, hey, we don't have glue, so we can't laminate the walls, so we can't build for 3 days. Hey, there's not enough steel coming in. So it's almost every part and every piece has been affected at some point.
Why is that? I know that, we look back to last year, the COVID, and I know that started, it seems like a domino effect of a lot of things, but is that the reason, or is it a bunch of reasons that are all adding up to these supply chain problems?
That's right. And I've talked to Mark, he's our parts manager, he's our purchasing manager. He's been on here before, and, it's kind of a perfect storm, even though it's not perfect, of just so many things happening. On one hand, we had the shutdowns last year due to COVID. We weren't sure we were going to work again, and there were a lot of factories all over the world that were out of work and weren't able to have workers come in. And now you pair that with record sales. Well, now at some point, you're going to have a backup where, oh no, we had so many weeks off because we couldn't build or not building anything. And now more people need more things. And it's not just, the RV industry that's using more things. It's the automotive industry. It's the residential housing industry.
Furniture stores, everybody.
My brother ordered a hot tub and he had to wait, 4 months for him to get the hot tub in. So it's like he wanted to use it in the winter. Now it gets here in May when the weather finally starts to warm up here. So yeah, it's everything.
But then you add to that the craziness of the price increases. I mean, explain these price increases, if you would. And I think it's across the board with every manufacturer out there has got substantial price increases on their RVs. And talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, you can look at the indexes and see, the price of wood, the price of steel. Every day I look on Facebook, I'll see a joke about plywood. Someone's got 3 sheets of plywood in the back of their truck and like, hey, $100,000 to the highest bidder. I know the value of what I've got, So,
yeah.
It's just one of those things that when the raw materials go up, our price has to go up too. And it's a trend that we haven't seen slow down yet this year. And it's going to take that supply chain getting back to normal for that to start evening out again. So
when do you think that's going to be? When will the supply chain kind of all the links be together as they're supposed to be?
That's a good question. And one I thought, back late last year when we started feeling some of this, I'm like, by spring it'll be better. Well, we're sitting here late spring and it's not quite better. So now I'm like, okay, maybe by fall, things will get better. And I hope I'm correct on that assessment. So.
Is there any specific item that you're good with now, but maybe you weren't good with a month or 2 months ago? It's like, oh, well, now we got our foam seat cushions, but we didn't have them a couple of months ago. Any kind of a example you can give me?
One of the biggest things I think was, appliances, a lot of refrigerator and air conditioner shortages. So, I mean, it got to the point where I was like, I'm so sick and tired of refrigerators and ACs right now. So those have kind of gotten past us, but right when we don't have to deal with that issue anymore, now it's cushions, foam, fiberglass, glue. It's one thing after steel. It's never ending. So
and it's not just Rockwood Flagstaff; it's everybody, right? Industry
wide. Everyone's having to get more creative than ever before to try and find, source. I heard a story that there's manufacturers that generally get the batten insulation right from the supplier. Well, the supplier is going to supply their big chain stores like Home Depot and Lowe's and all that. There's manufacturers that have people driving to Home Depot and Lowe's to get insulation to then go take back to the factory to install, to build their trailers. So it's not just here. It's anybody building anything right now. I mean, they're feeling it. Now, with all of that being said, what we're going through right now with the parts and all of that, it's a whole heck of a lot better than sitting at home for 7 weeks last year, not knowing if we were ever going to build a trailer again. So
yeah, imagine. I often say when somebody starts griping, one day we will look back and say, "Gosh, it was 2021 again." We can't imagine it now, but I'll guarantee you, sometime in the future, we're going to be saying that.
As a salesman, for me to say the busiest sales year we've ever had, that I don't like it, that's saying something. So,
well, is now a good time to buy a new RV, Anthony? And if it is, why? And if it's not, why not? Because that's the $64,000 question people are asking me. Well, should I buy one now? Should I wait? So what do you say?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the supply chain, right? If things continue the way they're on, prices are only going to go up. So with that being the case, if that continues, I think it is a good time. Now, that leads me into thinking, okay, but don't just rush to buy something. Still make sure it's the right trailer for you, because even though you have to wait for brand X because it's not in stock somewhere, you don't want to have to just buy something because it's the last thing there and you want to camp, because then turn around next year, you're like, wow, this is not the trailer that I want. And now you're spending more money anyway. So I do think it's still a good time to buy if you can find the trailer you've been looking for. Don't settle for something that didn't quite meet, your checklist, your qualifications for the trailer that you wanted. So
I think it's really good advice, because as you know, people, buying an RV is very exciting. It's an emotional experience. And when you see so many people that are buying and you're going, well, maybe that's all I'm going to get, I might as well go ahead and take it. Don't do that. Do your homework and get what you want the first time.
That's right. Yep.